Okay, I'm making this video for my LinkedIn Math Card Magic group. And so by request, they've asked me to come up with a 10-card effect to share with the group. Okay, so what we have here are 10 cards, and I should have 5 hearts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hearts, and 5 spades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so what we're going to do is together we're going to randomize these cards, and all of the choices I will give you are genuine choices, so that if you were here, you could actually make these choices. So rest assured that I'm not controlling the cards in any way. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is we'll just deal out the cards into 5 piles. Now, kind of a fun way to do that is to create a pentagon shape like this. And now I'll have you tell me where you want the next level of cards to go. Like this one here, where would you like it? Top? Okay, what about this one? Far right? Very good. Bottom left? Just left? And then bottom right. Okay, very, very good. Now, we're going to randomly stack these. And so why don't you go ahead and just tell me which pair would you like me to pick up first? The one on the far left, okay. And then bottom right, very good. The topmost pair, okay. Bottom left, okay. And then the remaining pair, okay. Very, very good. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is just give it a mix, a further mix here, using something called the Charlier Shuffle. It's kind of a fun mix. And then what I'll do is I'll just deal out into 2 piles, left, right. And how would you like these stacked? Left on right or right on left on right? Okay. Now, what I'd like you to do is choose any of the suit names. Now, you don't have to choose hearts or spades, which is the suits of the cards we're using. You can choose any of the 4 suits. So which suit would you like me to spell? Diamonds, okay? So D-I-A-M-O-N-D-S, okay? Should we spell another suit? Yes? Clubs, okay? C-L-U-B-S, okay? Now rest assured that we could spell out any of the suit names as many times as you would like. But just to make it a bit more interesting, why don't we have you choose one of the days of the week, and we'll go ahead and spell that name. So Monday through Sunday. Which of those would you like? Saturday, okay? S-A-T-U-R-D-A-Y, okay? What about another day of the week if you'd like one? Tuesday, okay? So T-U-E-S-D-A-Y, okay? Are you fine with those 2 days of the week? Should we do one more? One more, okay. Which one? Friday? Okay. F-R-I-D-A-Y. Okay, very, very good. Okay, and then what I thought we would also do is go ahead and kind of personalize this. And now your first name's Robert. Is that right? Okay. So why don't I go ahead and just spell your first name, Robert. R-O-B-E-R-T. Okay, very, very good. And your last name is, I believe, Jones. Is that right, Robert Jones? Okay, let's spell Jones. J-O-N-E-S. Okay. Boy, we are really randomizing these cards with choices you're making along with information that you're providing that I could not possibly know ahead of time. Okay, what I thought we would do too to just really, really mix these cards, this is called the Klondike Shuffle. So I'm just Klondike shuffling pairs to the table, just kind of randomly setting them out. Now, how would you like me to pick these up? You want the bottom left, top right, center, bottom right, and then the remaining one. Okay. Very, very, very good. Okay. Well, I don't know about you, but it feels like these cards are just beyond the knowledge of anyone. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and just deal them out into two piles here. So a pile for you and a pile for me, I suppose we could say. Okay. Oh, now, by the way, I've had this written prediction within camera view the whole time. So why don't we go ahead and just take a look at what I wrote, okay? So what did I write? The hearts, remember, we had 5 hearts and 5 spades. The hearts will be separated from the spades. Wow, if that is true, that will be amazing, considering all of the mixing that we've done with key choices being made by you and using information that you freely chose that I could not have possibly known ahead of time. What are the chances that we've succeeded in separating the hearts from the spades? Not very likely. Okay, so let me just set this here. Why don't we take a look at this one first? Oh, looks like we failed. Okay, let me just set this off to the side a little bit. Well, I don't think... Oh, I think that's a fail, isn't it? The claim was the hearts will be separated from the spade. Oh, wait a second. Oh, there's more to it. I had forgotten that I had written this. Except for the ace of hearts and the ace of spades. Is that true? It is indeed. So look at that. Leave it to 2 of the most popular cards that everyone loves to be the exceptions to my prediction. The ace of hearts and the ace of spades. I think that is evidence. These 2 cards are very special and seem to stand out in any crowd in which you find them. So the next time somebody asks you for your favorite card and you give the ace of spades and the ace of hearts as your answer, you now have evidence as to why those are good choices. Okay, so how does this work? Well, I don't know if we'll show you all of the hows and whys, but we'll certainly show you how to actually perform it. Okay, so let me just bring over a write-up of this effect that you can reference as we work through this. Okay, so the first thing you do is, now you don't have to use hearts and spades, you don't have to use these numbered cards, you don't have to use any particular cards for this to work. You just have to decide on what cards you would like to separate in the end. And if you choose to have an exception to that separating of these 2 halves, like I did, then go ahead and build that in at the start. Okay? So here the R is for red, B is for black. Okay? Now I don't remember exactly the order of the cards. It may have been something like that. Well, I think we actually had the hearts first, if I remember. Not that that matters. Okay. Okay, so something... Well, that's probably not exactly what it was, but something like that would be just fine. But let me just tidy that up a little bit so you can see. Okay, so if you notice here, we don't have the cards separated by color, of course, right? So the top half, we have 4 hearts, and then that 1 spade, ace of spades. And then the bottom half, we have 4 spades, and then that ace of hearts. Okay? Now, if for whatever reason you want to do a perfect separation of cards, then you wouldn't have these exceptions. You'd move this one back over here, and this one over here, and then perhaps not show them this if it's that obvious, or if the separation you have in mind really is not perceivable by any spectator, then you could show them the cards. But I'm just stepping through what in fact I did in terms of the overall structure of the routine. Okay, so I had the top half, let's say red, with the one exception, ace of spades. And then the bottom half, I had black with the ace of hearts as the exception. Okay, so think about it here. So think about what we're wanting to do is we're wanting in the end to arrive back at these two groups of 5 cards, right? For our prediction that I wrote to be correct, we're going to have this magician's trick where we say, well, we're going to separate the hearts from the spades. Well, we're not. We're almost going to. And so it's kind of a miscall. Okay, so we say, we're going to do this. It didn't quite work out. And then we reveal that, oh, wait, there is an exception. Oh, and we've covered the exception. Okay, so that's kind of a common magician's little stunt to pull. Okay, so the goal, think about it. The goal is to, in the end, when we deal out the 2 piles, left, right, we essentially want one pile to consist of the top 5 cards and the other pile to consist of the bottom 5. Okay, so that's the goal, right? Okay, well, just think about what I did with the pentagon dealing. Well, the top 5 cards are in the top half of the packet. So if I go like this, and then like that, like this, we move that over a little bit. And then over here, I've gone off the camera here. I'll keep doing that. I apologize. Okay. Now think about it. So this is the top half. Okay. Those are all they're all on the same level. Okay. So in that sense, we know where they are. Now this is the bottom half. Well, we're really just trying to retain these groupings of the top and the bottom. So in some sense, for level 2, it doesn't matter where these are put. So maybe spectator wants that one there, this one here, and then that one over here, and then this one here. Okay, well, what have we done? On level 1, we have what started on the top. That started in the top half. Level 2 consists of the cards in the bottom half, okay? So if we randomly stack these, what we'll create is a cyclic packet. The cards will alternate between cards that came from the top or came from the bottom, or vice versa, okay? So this is technically an alternating packet where the cards alternate as to where they came from. Well, every alternating packet is cyclic, and consequently, that means that we can cut it randomly and not change the fact that it's a cyclic packet or alternating, right? An alternating structure. Well, something far more convincing than just an ordinary packet cut is this Chardelier shuffle, top to bottom, bottom to top, top to bottom, okay? And I have a separate video on the Chardelier shuffle on my website. So if you'd like to look at that and kind of learn that one, that's a good shuffle to learn. But a Chardelier shuffle, all of that mixing I just did, is equivalent to just cutting the packet at some location. Okay, and consequently, the Chardelier shuffle will not harm an alternating packet. Okay, so we're safe. We still have essentially all the information that we need to retain, we've retained. Now, what happens if it's alternating like a card from the top, a card from the bottom, a card from the top, a card from the bottom? Well, if you do a left-right shuffle, you separate them like top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. So essentially, these are all from one half of the packet, and these are from the other half of the packet. Okay, so if we randomly stack these, in some sense, we're back to a structure that's very similar to where we began. Okay, so we really haven't destroyed anything essential yet. Okay, now we did something called overcoding. Okay, now overcoding refers to dealing out 50% or more of the cards in the packet. We have 10 cards. So as long as we deal out 5 or more and then drop the rest on top, what that does is the top block of 5 cards and the bottom block of 5 cards will be preserved. Cards will be moved around within the blocks, but the blocks themselves will not be harmed. So for example, any of the suit names, clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, all have 5 letters or more. Okay, so for example, if we spell out diamonds, So we do D-I-A-M-O, okay? D-I-A-M-O. Well, think about it. This is 1/2 of the packet so far, right? So these are all from the original top or bottom of our starting packet. So D-I-A-M-O and D-S, okay? And those remaining 5 cards that just kind of got dealt or dropped there are from the other half, okay? So we haven't hurt the fact that this packet is separated into 2 blocks of 5 cards. Same thing if we spell out clubs. C-L-U-B-S. This one's probably a little bit easier to see because that's 5 cards. Now we're going to drop the rest on top. So we've preserved these 2 blocks of 5 cards each, okay? But notice, if I were to deal out more, the additional cards being dealt out are just coming from this block of cards that we want to keep together. Well, they'll stay together, right? They'll be moved around. Like if I deal out that one and that one, drop the rest on top, those 2 are staying with the other 3. So we haven't really broken apart those blocks of 5 cards each. Okay, so none of that harms it. Now, it is true you've got to be aware of the number of letters in the person's name, first name or last name. So I claim that the person across the table from me is Robert. Well, Robert has more than 5 letters. So if I do R-O-B-E-R-T, this will not harm those 2 separated blocks of cards, a block of 5 on the top and a block of 5 on the bottom, okay? So what you would need to do is you do need to be aware of, okay, how many letters are in the person's name. And if you're so unlucky that both their first and last names are shorter than 5 letters, then you won't be able to spell their name. Or what you could do is if their first and last names added together as far as the number of letters does not exceed 10, you could do that, okay? Or you could say, choose your favorite number between, let's say, 5 and 10, okay, to make it interesting. Well, if they choose any of those numbers, it's going to work just fine. That will be like spelling out a 5 to 10 letter name, right? So if you can just think of something where they feel like they're being given the freedom to randomly choose something that stays within 5 to 10 letters or values because of the dealing, then you can give them that choice. Okay, so that's overcoding. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to Klondike shuffle this packet. Well, think about it. What is that going to do? Well, the Klondike shuffle, if you haven't seen it before, is where you take the top and bottom card off as one. Okay, well, just think about it. The top card here is coming from the top half. The bottom card here is coming from the bottom half. And so what we're doing then is we'll be creating pairs where the bottom card comes from the bottom half and the top card in each pair comes from the top half. Boy, that should sound reminiscent of what we did with the Pentagon deal, because it's going to essentially achieve the same sort of thing. So what we've just done here is we've separated the packet into 5 pairs where the bottom card for each pair came from the bottom half of the packet of 10, and the top card came from the top half of the packet of 10. Okay, so if we just randomly stack these, we'll be creating an alternating packet again, alternating between cards that started in the top half and cards that started in the bottom half, and that will be true all the way through. Well, any alternating structure is, of course, cyclic, and every cyclic structure can be randomly cut without harming that organization of the cards. It moves the cards around, but it still alternates, either one card from the top, the other card from the bottom, or vice versa. So it will alternate consistently all the way through. The Chardonnay Shuffle is a nice choice because it's just more convincing. More people will think the cards are just being scrambled when they watch this being done, okay? When in fact it's just equivalent to an ordinary packet cut, okay? And then we're almost done. Since this alternates between a card from the top and a card from the bottom, that just means that if you do a left-right or your alternate deal like this, we've just separated the cards that came from the top into one pile and the cards that originally came from the bottom into the other pile, okay? And now you can bring out and kind of show your prediction that, oh, wow, look at that. Well, of course, we'll assume that we've shown the prediction that we're going to separate the hearts from the spades, and then you can feign disappointment or dejection that, oh man, what happened? I really felt like we had succeeded here. I just felt like our prediction was going to be true, and then you reveal that, oh, wait a second, there's more here, which of course it covers the exception. Okay, so play with that. It uses some of the principles on the Hidden Structures channel, and you can come up with so many variations on this little routine, as well as packet structures that would be interesting to preserve in the end. Or another way to put it, interesting sets of cards to separate from one another, okay? Now, I do want to point out that one of the reasons I decided to have the exception, not only is it fun because of the, quote, miscall, it looks like you messed up when you bring out your prediction, but then you pull out of a nosedive when you reveal the second half of the prediction. But having the exception is really quite helpful here, because if you think about it, if we truly went with red and black, just a true division. Okay, so let's just move this one over here like that. So if we have red on top, black on the bottom, and we were to show this to the spectator, that would almost certainly kind of tip them off as to, yeah, I'm remembering that at the beginning you had them separated by color, and then in the end that's what you achieved, right? So I think it really is helpful to have this exception, because then you can make it look like, so maybe I'll put it right here. So I wouldn't put the exceptions exactly symmetrically across from each other, because that would probably tip people off. But something like this, if you have them focus their attention on, let's see, now I meant to get 5 hearts. Do we have 5 hearts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're focused on finding the hearts. And 5 spades. 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5. And beyond that, I don't think they'll think anything. It looks like this could have arrived by randomly mixing these 5 black cards with these 5 red cards. And that's very much true. And so doing it this way, you throw them off the trail. They don't even think to recall later, okay, what was the organization of the cards again? And was there something funny? Well, there was something funny, because we have the ace of spades, right? So in some sense, this is kind of where we're going to end, right? That sort of thing, okay? But the chances of them remembering that are very slim, okay? So anyway, so you can play with that. And of course, there's nothing special about 10 cards. You can come up with a similar routine involving any even number of cards you like. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, whatever you like. And then if you were to follow analogous steps here, everything I've shown you would work, actually. So this particular routine generalizes to any even-sized packet you can think of, okay? And I just kind of realized that now. So, it's kind of nice in that way. It's sort of universal. It truly will work for any even-sized packet where the goal is to divide that packet in half in some surprising or interesting way. Okay, well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, have fun with that, and come up with your own variations. And if you didn't quite see why certain steps are working, then go ahead and just jump in there and, create a packet of 5 black, 5 red, slowly go through these steps, perform the shuffles, and then just see what effect those shuffles have on the cards themselves. And I think you'll quickly learn some important principles along the way regarding what effect these different shuffles have on certain packet structures. So thank you for watching, and take a look at other videos on the Hidden Structures channel or other ones that I've posted on the LinkedIn Math Card Magic page.